Take the bus. We're getting your sister a Tesla. Dad told me at graduation. Then the dean declared. And now, meet our youngest billionaire graduate. My parents froze in shock. Can you imagine standing at your college graduation, cap and gown on, and getting a text from your own sister boasting about her brand new Tesla? A gift from the parents who just told you to take the bus to your own ceremony? That's exactly what happened to me. It wasn't just a frustrating moment. It was a final, heartbreaking straw after a lifetime of feeling completely invisible. I'm Brooke Mitchell, 22 years old, and honestly, standing there at that bus stop in my graduation attire, with the Seattle rain drizzling down, the worst part wasn't the weather or the curious stares. It was that damn text. A picture of my 19-year-old sister, Amber, beaming next to her gleaming new Tesla, her graduation gift, from the same parents who insisted the bus was perfectly reliable transportation for my big day. My family wasn't struggling financially, not even close. This was just another brutal chapter in my story of being the forgotten daughter. Growing up in Bellevue, a comfortable Seattle suburb, we were the picture-perfect American family from the outside. My dad, Ryan, was a senior software developer, pulling in a salary that put us firmly in the upper middle class. My mom, Stephanie, sold luxury real estate, driving clients around in her Mercedes. We lived in a beautiful 4-bedroom house with a view of Lake Washington. But inside those walls, there was a clear hierarchy, and I quickly learned my place. My sister, Amber, 3 years younger than me, was the golden child from the moment she was born. She had my mother's charisma, my father's quick wit, and this magnetic confidence I both envied and admired. I, on the other hand, was the responsible one. Studious, quiet, and according to my mom, too sensitive. The pattern started so early. When I was 7 and Amber was 4, I remember my parents filming every second of her preschool dance recital. 2 weeks later, they missed my school science fair where I won first place because Amber had a cold. It's not a big deal, Mom assured me. When I showed them my blue ribbon, they glanced at it while helping Amber build a pillow fort. That's nice, honey, my mother said, before turning back to Amber. Look how creative your sister is with those cushions. It stung. By middle school, the differences grew even more. Amber's bedroom was redecorated 3 times to match her evolving interests. My furniture stayed the same childhood set for years, with promises of updates that never materialized. When I brought home straight A's, my father would nod and say, "That's what we expect from you, Brooke." But when Amber pulled B's and C's, they'd take her out for ice cream to celebrate her improvement. The most glaring example hit on our 16th birthdays. For mine, we had a modest dinner at my favorite local restaurant with just our immediate family. Practical gifts, a laptop for school, some clothes, and a vague promise of a used car when the time was right. For Amber's 16th, they rented a venue, hired a DJ, invited 60 of her friends. She got designer clothes, jewelry, and the crowning gift, a brand new Honda Civic with a giant red bow. When I pointed out the difference, my mother simply said, "Amber is more social, honey. She needs these things to build confidence. You've always been so independent." Independent or ignored. 2 months after Amber's new Honda, they helped me buy a 10-year-old Toyota with mysterious engine noises and a passenger door that didn't open from the inside. It has character, my father chuckled, slapping the hood. And it'll teach you about car maintenance. Throughout high school, the pattern continued. My parents attended every one of Amber's volleyball games, but made it to only 2 of my debate team competitions, despite my team making it to state finals. When I was accepted to the University of Washington with a partial academic scholarship, my parents seemed more interested in Amber's upcoming prom. "Of course you got in," my mother said when I showed her my acceptance letter. "You've always been smart. Now, do you think Amber should go with the blue dress or the silver for prom?" The silver, I muttered, really brings out her eyes. The only person who truly saw me was my grandmother, Hannah, my mother's mother, a retired English professor, valued education and hard work. When my parents missed my high school graduation speech as valedictorian because Amber had a volleyball tournament, Grandma Hannah was there, front and center, beaming. They don't see what I see, she told me, squeezing my hand. But someday you'll build a life where your worth is recognized, Brooke, and it will be beautiful. I clung to those words. College life mirrored our childhood. While Amber followed me to UW a few years later, despite lower grades and test scores, our experiences couldn't have been more different. I worked 20 hours a week at the campus library, maintained a 3.9 GPA, and lived frugally with 3 roommates. Amber lived in expensive dorms, then a luxury apartment. She joined sorority, changed her major 3 times, and maintained a solid C average. My parents paid her full tuition, rent, and a generous monthly allowance. I stretched every dollar, picked up extra shifts. I told myself, someday they'd see my accomplishments. Someday they'd be proud of me. As my graduation approached, I thought, maybe this would be that moment. I'd secured a job interview at a prestigious marketing firm. I was graduating with honors. Surely now they would see me. I was wrong. I didn't know how wrong until I found out about Amber's Tesla. My final semester was a blur of all-nighters, coffee-fueled study sessions, and internship applications. While others partied, I was pulling double shifts at the library, finalizing my capstone project, all while my ancient Toyota made increasingly concerning noises. 3 weeks before graduation, I called my parents to discuss logistics. I'd been dropping hints that my car probably wouldn't make it. I'm a bit worried about transportation, I said, twisting the phone cord. The Toyota is making that knocking sound again. My father replied, typing in the background. Can't one of your roommates drive you? They're all participating too, Dad. Well, we'll figure something out. My mother chimed in. By the way, did we tell you Amber made Dean's List this semester? Her advisor says if she keeps this up, she might graduate a semester early. I bit my lip. Amber's Dean's List for a 3.2 GPA. Mine was 3.9. I tried again. I was thinking maybe, oh, honey, can we talk about this later? My mother interrupted. Your father and I are heading out to look at something special for Amber. We'll call you tomorrow. They hung up. 2 days later, I stopped by their house to pick up some winter clothes. They weren't expecting me. I let myself in and overheard them talking excitedly in the kitchen. Amber's going to flip when she sees it. My father was saying, the white interior is perfect, and the salesman said we can have it ready by next weekend, just in time for Brooke's graduation. Amber can drive it there and show everyone. I froze in the hallway, my heart pounding. Don't you think it's a bit much for a freshman? My father asked, though his tone suggested he'd already been convinced. Ryan, my mother reasoned, she maintained an average this year while adjusting to college and sorority life. That deserves recognition. Besides, her Honda is already 2 years old, and all her sorority sisters are getting new cars for sophomore year. I must have made a noise because they both looked up, startled. Brooke, we didn't hear you come in, my mother said, quickly closing the laptop they'd been looking at. I came to get my winter stuff, I said quietly. What's this about a Tesla? Before they could answer, the front door burst open. Amber bounded in, blonde hair perfectly styled. Mom, Dad, guess what? Kylie's parents got her a Range Rover for sophomore year. She stopped short when she saw me. Oh, hey, Brooke, what are you doing here? My parents exchanged a look that confirmed everything I'd overheard. My mother recovered, her real estate smile sliding into place. Actually, we have some exciting news. We were going to wait, but since everyone's here, Amber, honey, in recognition of your hard work this year. And since Brooke's graduating next week, my father finished beaming. We're getting you a Tesla Model 3, white with the premium interior package you wanted. Amber screamed. She jumped up and down. I stood there, invisible once again. Not only were they buying her a Tesla as a reward for mediocre freshman grades, but they were framing it as connected to my graduation, an event that should have been about my achievements. Oh my God, are you serious? A Tesla? Taylor's going to die. Amber threw her arms around our parents, then turned to me with a smirk. See, Brooke, some of us get cars that actually work. I opened my mouth to say something, anything, but my mother cut me off. We're going to pick it up next Friday. And then we can all drive to Brooke's graduation in style on Saturday. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Not only was my graduation overshadowed, but they hadn't even considered how I would get to my own ceremony. I was just expected to ride along in Amber's new Tesla, like an afterthought. I mumbled something about needing my clothes and fled to the basement, tears burning my eyes. As I stuffed sweaters into a duffel bag, I could hear them upstairs, excitedly discussing features and color options. That night, back in my apartment, I broke down telling my roommate Jessica what had happened. Your parents are buying your teenage sister a Tesla, while you can barely afford oil changes for your death trap? Jessica was furious on my behalf. And they didn't even think about how you're getting to graduation? That's beyond messed up, Brooke. Maybe I'm overreacting, I said, wiping my eyes. They've always been this way. That doesn't make it right, Jessica insisted. You need to stand up for yourself. Tell them how you feel. What's the point? They don't hear me. They never have. Then make them hear you, Jessica said firmly. You're graduating with honors. You've worked your ass off while Amber's been partying on their dime. If they can't see your worth, you need to show it to them. I nodded, but as graduation day approached, my anxiety only grew. Would I finally find the courage to speak up, or would I stay silent as I had for 22 years? The Friday before graduation dawned bright and clear, a rare Seattle gift. I woke early to take my final exam in marketing analytics. The last hurdle. Despite the knot in my stomach, I aced it. Finished with flying colors, I see, Professor Wilson said. Not that I'd expect anything less from you, Brooke. That simple recognition felt like a lifeline. Afterward, I headed to my final shift at the campus library. My supervisor, Thomas, had arranged a small goodbye gathering. You've set the bar impossibly high, he said, handing me a leather-bound journal. I blinked back tears. This job has been a lifeline for me. After saying my goodbyes, I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from my mother. I called her back. Brooke, finally, she answered. We're at the Tesla dealership picking up Amber's car. It's absolutely stunning. White exterior, white vegan leather interior. Premium everything. That's great. I managed swallowing. About tomorrow. Yes, that's why I'm calling, she interrupted. The ceremony starts at 1 p.m., right? We'll need to leave early to find parking. Your father thinks we should get there by 11:30 to get good seats. Mom, I said firmly, I need to be there by 10 a.m. for graduate lineup. I've been trying to talk to you about transportation all week. Oh, she paused, as if this thought hadn't occurred to her. Well, we'll be busy getting Amber's car ready for its first big drive. Can you just take the bus? There's a direct route from your apartment to campus, isn't there? I stopped walking, stunned by her casual suggestion. You want me to take the bus to my college graduation in my cap and gown? It's just practical, honey. Everyone else will be with us in Amber's new Tesla, and there won't be room if we need to take your grandmother, too. The bus is perfectly reliable transportation. The world seemed to tilt. Everyone else. As if I weren't part of the family. As if I were some distant acquaintance. You're suggesting I ride the bus to my graduation while my younger sister drives her brand new Tesla that you bought her for no particular milestone to my graduation ceremony? I couldn't keep the hurt and anger out of my voice. Don't be dramatic, Brooke. My mother sighed. You've always been so independent. I thought you'd appreciate handling it yourself instead of relying on us to chauffeur you around. In the background, I could hear Amber and my father laughing, completely oblivious. I have to go, I said, my voice thick with unshed tears. Amber's special day is waiting. It's a practical solution, my mother repeated, either missing or ignoring my sarcasm. We'll see you at the ceremony tomorrow. Don't forget to wear that nice dress under your gown. I hung up, frozen on the sidewalk. Shock, hurt, anger, and then a strange, undeniable clarity. This was who my parents were. This had always been who they were. No achievement of mine would ever measure up to Amber's mere existence. I dial my grandmother's number. Grandma Hannah, it's Brooke. There's my graduate. Her warm voice instantly provided comfort. Are you ready for tomorrow? They're making me take the bus. I blurted out, tears finally spilling, to my own graduation because they're busy with Amber's new Tesla. There was a long pause. Then her voice, unusually hard. They did what? Through broken sobs, I explained everything. The Tesla, the bus, years of being overlooked. Oh, my darling girl, Grandma Hannah said. I wish I could say I'm surprised. I've watched this pattern for too long. Your mother did the same thing to your Aunt Carol when they were growing up. What do? I asked, feeling like a lost child despite my college degree. You have two choices, she said firmly. You can either continue to accept their treatment, or you can start setting boundaries. Neither is easy, but only one leads to healing. I'm so tired of being invisible, I whispered. Then stop allowing them to look past you, she replied. But whatever you decide, know that I see you, Brooke. I've always seen you, and I am so tremendously proud of the woman you become, with or without their recognition. After talking to Grandma Hannah, I went home. I ironed my gown, polished my shoes, and set out the sensible navy dress my mother insisted on. As I hung up the gown, my phone pinged. A text from my childhood friend, Mia. Can't wait to see you walk tomorrow. You've worked so hard for this. Let me know if you need anything at all. I stared at it. Maybe that was the key, focusing on those who did value me. I set my alarm for 7 a.m. Tomorrow would be my day, even if my family couldn't see that. And maybe, just maybe, it would also be the day I finally found my voice. The morning of graduation, I woke before my alarm. For a brief, blissful moment, I felt only excitement. Then reality crashed back. I was taking the bus. My phone had congratulatory texts from friends and a single message from my mother. Don't forget we're meeting by the main entrance at 12:30. Amber wants to take family photos with her new car. No congratulations. No, we're proud of you. Just logistics. Centered around Amber and her Tesla. I took a deep breath, got ready, and looked in the mirror. I had done this. Me, not my parents' money or connections. Just my own hard work. My roommates had already left. The apartment was quiet as I gathered my things and headed out to the bus stop. The Seattle morning was gray and misty, a light rain starting to fall. I clutched my cap, droplets soaking into my gown. At the bus stop, the rain picked up. I huddled under the small shelter. A car honked as it drove past, classmates waving from inside. I forced a smile and waved back, then turned away quickly. Graduating today, dear? A voice asked. I turned to see an elderly woman, Doris, with kind eyes. Yes, I replied, trying to sound cheerful. University of Washington. And you're taking the bus? She looked surprised. My family had other transportation arrangements, I said diplomatically. Doris studied me, then patted the seat beside her. I'm Doris. Sit down before you get any wetter. I sat. Let me guess, Doris said. Family drama? I laughed despite myself. Is it that obvious? Only to someone who's been there, she replied. I graduated from nursing school in 1962. My parents didn't come because they were attending my brother's baseball game. I took 2 buses in my white uniform and cap. How did you handle it? I asked, suddenly eager for her wisdom. Not well at first, Doris admitted. I was angry for years. But eventually, I realized that their failure to see my worth didn't diminish it. It just showed their limitations, not mine. Before I could respond, the bus arrived. The driver smiled when he saw my graduation attire. Congratulations, he called out, refusing my fare. It's on me today. Consider a graduation gift. Inside, several passengers offered congratulations. A woman in scrubs insisted I take her seat. The kindness of these strangers brought tears to my eyes. Their recognition was more meaningful than they could know. As the bus rumbled toward campus, my phone vibrated. A text from Amber. OMG, the Tesla is amazing. Mom and Dad are letting me drive everyone to your thing. So excited for everyone to see it. Attached was a picture of her posing beside the gleaming white car, my parents beaming behind her. I turned off my phone. The bus journey brought back other times I'd been overlooked. My 16th birthday, high school graduation, countless achievements met with distracted acknowledgement, while Amber's smallest accomplishments were celebrated lavishly. Yet, amid these painful memories, I found myself thinking about Doris's words. Their failure to see my worth didn't diminish it. Maybe it was time I truly believed that. The bus approached campus, now crowded with graduates and families. Proud parents, grandparents with flowers, siblings with signs. A lump formed in my throat, but I swallowed it down. This was still my achievement. As I prepared to exit, Doris touched my arm. Remember, dear, family isn't always who raises you. Sometimes it's who sees you. Find those people and keep them close. I thanked her, moved by this brief encounter with a stranger who understood exactly what I needed to hear. Stepping off the bus, I spotted Jessica waiting. "Brooke," she called, rushing over. "I was worried you wouldn't make it. Did you really take the bus in your gown?" "Family tradition," I said wryly, straightening my dam cap. Jessica's expression darkened. "They really made you bus it while they're parading around in a brand new Tesla? That's beyond messed up." "It's fine," I said automatically, then corrected myself. "Actually, no, it's not fine. But I'm not going to let it ruin today. That's my girl." Jessica linked her arm through mine. "And just so you know, my parents want to take us both out for dinner after the ceremony. They insist." A rush of gratitude for Jessica and her family. "I'd like that." As we walked toward the graduate assembly area, I felt simultaneously drained and determined. The bus ride had given me time to reflect on years of inequality, but it also showed me the kindness of strangers. "Ready to graduate?" Jessica asked. More than ready, I replied, squaring my shoulders. "It's time." The assembly area buzzed. I lined up with the other marketing majors, trying to focus. "Where are your folks?" asked Tyler, a classmate. "My family's been texting me nonstop, trying to find the right entrance." "They're coming separately," I said vaguely. My phone buzzed with a text from my mother. "Where should we park the Tesla? Is there special graduation parking?" I didn't bother responding. Let them figure it out themselves for once. As we lined up for procession, I caught sight of my family, finally arriving 20 minutes late, making a scene. Amber led the way in a tight, white dress that matched her car. My parents followed behind her like attendants. Several heads turned. Exactly the kind of attention Amber thrived on. The ceremony began. Despite everything, I felt a swell of emotion as we marched into the auditorium. The culmination of years of hard work. The university president introduced the commencement speaker, Dr. Eliza Chun, a renowned marketing executive. Dr. Chun approached the podium. "Today, I want to talk about something they don't teach in business classes. Your intrinsic value." I straightened in my seat. Society often measures worth through external validation. The car you drive, the house you live in, the attention you receive. But true value comes from within. It's built through perseverance, integrity, and self-belief, especially when no one else is watching. Some of you have had every advantage. Others have fought for every inch of progress, often unseen and uncelebrated. To those students especially, I say this. The fact that others fail to recognize your light doesn't make it shine any less brightly. In fact, the struggle to be seen often creates the most resilient, compassionate leaders. Tears welled in my eyes. Her words pierced through me. Your worth is not determined by others' ability to see it. Remember that as you move forward into a world that will continue to overlook quiet excellence in favor of flashy mediocrity, the rest of her speech blurred. Had I been allowing my parents' perception to define my worth all these years? The revelation felt simultaneously painful and liberating. When it was time to cross the stage, I took a deep breath. Brooke Mitchell, Bachelor of Science in Marketing, summa cum laude, the dean announced as I stepped onto the stage. I expected silence. Instead, I heard a thunderous cheer from back. Startled, I looked up. My grandmother Hannah was standing, despite her arthritis, applauding wildly. Beside her were Jessica's parents and several of my library co-workers. They held up a banner. "Congratulations, Brooke. We see you." Emotion overwhelmed me, as I accepted my diploma. Tears flowed freely now. These people, some related by blood, others by circumstance, had made the effort to be here, fully present for me. They saw me. They celebrated me. And in that moment, it was enough. As I returned to my seat, I glanced at my family. My parents looked confused, embarrassed. Amber appeared annoyed that attention had been diverted from her. For once, I didn't care. After the ceremony, graduates flooded the courtyard. I found my grandmother first, pulling her into a tight hug. "You came," I whispered. "Your doctor said the trip would be too much." "Wild horses couldn't have kept me away," Grandma Hannah replied, cupping my face. "I'm so proud of you, my brilliant girl." Thomas and my coworkers offered congratulations. Jessica's parents took photos, treating the moment with the reverence it deserved. It was in this warm bubble of genuine celebration that my parents and Amber finally found me. "There you are," my mother exclaimed, as if I'd been difficult to locate. "We've been looking everywhere. Who are all those people cheering for you?" It was a bit much, don't you think? "Those were people who wanted to celebrate with me," I said simply. "Well, we need to take family photos by Amber's new car before the parking fee increases," my father said, checking his watch again. "The Tesla is parked in the VIP section. Had to pay extra, but worth it for the statement it makes. Seriously, Brooke, wait until you see it." Amber gushed, completely oblivious. "The interior is amazing. Everyone's been stopping to look at it. Some guy even asked if I was a professional model doing a Tesla promotion." Something inside me finally snapped. Quietly, definitively. For years of working myself to exhaustion. For years of maintaining near-perfect grades. For years of watching my sister get everything handed to her. And now, on what should have been my day, they couldn't even pretend to care about my achievement. "No," I said, the word coming out clear and firm. "No, what?" my mother asked, already turning toward the parking lot. "No, I will not take family photos by Amber's Tesla on my graduation day." My father frowned. "Don't be difficult, Brooke. It's just a few pictures." "It's never just been about pictures," I said, my voice gaining strength. "It's about a lifetime of being treated as less than. It's about you buying my teenage sister a luxury car while making me take the bus to my own graduation. It's about showing up late to my ceremony because you were too busy fawning over Amber and her new toy." "That's not fair," my mother protested, looking around nervously as nearby families glanced our way. "We've always supported you." "Have you?" I asked, surprising myself with my calm. "When is the last time you attended any event that mattered to me without checking your watch or leaving early for something of Amber's? When have you ever celebrated my achievements with even half the enthusiasm you show for her mediocre ones?" "I got good grades this year." Amber interjected, indignant. "You got C's with a few B's at a university Dad's donations helped you get into, while living in a luxury apartment they pay for with a monthly allowance that exceeds what I make working 20 hours a week." I replied, "And for that, you got a Tesla. I graduated summa cum laude while working throughout college, and I got a bus ticket." My father's face reddened. "That's completely different. Amber needs more support. You've always been independent." "I had to be independent," I said quietly. "You never gave me any other choice." "Is that what this is about?" my mother asked, her voice rising. "A car? If you wanted a car, you should have said something." "This isn't about the car," my grandmother interjected, stepping forward. Though making her take the bus to graduation while buying Amber a luxury car certainly brought everything into focus. This is about seeing your daughter, really seeing her for the first time in 22 years. My parents turned to her in surprise. "Mom, this isn't the place," my mother began. "If not now, when?" Grandma Hannah interrupted. "I've watched this pattern for decades. Carol was treated the same way you treat Brooke. Invisible unless performing some service for the family. And now you're continuing the cycle with your own daughters." My mother paled at the mention of her sister. "Brooke has worked harder than anyone I know," my grandmother continued. "She deserved to have her parents drive her to graduation at minimum. She deserved celebration, recognition, and respect, not to be an afterthought to Amber's new car. A small crowd had gathered. I felt a hand slip into mine and turned to see Jessica standing beside me. "I need to go," I said, suddenly exhausted. "My friend's family has invited me to a graduation dinner. People who actually want to celebrate with me." "Brooke, you can't just walk away from your family," my father protested. "Watch me," I replied, then turned and left with Jessica and Grandma Hannah. As we walked away, I heard Amber ask in a confused voice, "So, are we not taking pictures of the Tesla?" And for the first time in years, I found myself laughing, genuinely laughing at the absurdity of it all. In standing up for myself, I discovered a strength I hadn't known I possessed. Whether my family recognized my worth or not, I finally did. After the ceremony, Jessica's parents took us to a lovely dinner. They ordered champagne, made heartfelt toasts to my achievement, and treated me like family. Grandma Hannah joined us, her eyes twinkling with pride. For those few hours, I allowed myself to bask in the celebration I deserved. To Brooke, Jessica's father said, raising his glass, whose determination and brilliance will take her wherever she wants to go, and who finally found her voice today. Grandma Hannah added with a wink. By the time we finished, my phone showed 12 missed calls and 23 text messages. I silenced it. Whatever crisis they were experiencing could wait until tomorrow. Today was mine. Jessica offered to let me stay at her parents' hotel, but I declined. I needed to face my apartment and whatever awaited me there on my own terms. Grandma Hannah squeezed my hand before getting into Jessica's parents' car. "Remember," she said softly, "standing up for yourself isn't a one-time event. It's a practice. Be gentle with yourself if you falter." I nodded, grateful for her wisdom, and took the bus back to my apartment. As we rounded the corner, I saw my parents' Mercedes parked outside my building. They were waiting. I took a deep breath, got off the bus, and approached their car. My mother spotted me, nudging my father. They scrambled out, looking uncharacteristically disheveled. "Brooke," my mother rushed toward me. "We've been calling for hours." "Where have you been?" "At my graduation dinner," I replied calmly, "with people who wanted to celebrate with me." "We need to talk," my father said, his authoritative tone returning. "This scene you caused today was completely inappropriate. Let's go inside," I suggested, not wanting this conversation on the street. My roommates were gone for the weekend. Once in my apartment, my parents took in the modest surroundings with poorly concealed dismay. My father paced the small living room. My mother perched uncomfortably on our second-hand couch. "Brooke," my father began, "I understand you were upset about transportation arrangements today, but publicly embarrassing your family was unacceptable. Is that what you think happened?" I asked that I was throwing a tantrum over a ride. What else could it be? My mother threw up her hands. "We've given you everything. We paid for your education. I had a scholarship," I interrupted, "and worked 20 hours a week to cover living expenses." "We would have helped if you'd asked," my father countered. "You've always been so independent, so capable. Amber needs more support." "No," I said firmly. "Amber gets more support. There's a difference." "That's ridiculous." My mother scoffed. "We've always treated you both fairly." "Really?" I walked to my bedroom and returned with a shoebox. "Let me show you something." I opened the box and began laying out items. A birthday card for my 16th with a $50 gift card. Next to it, a photo of Amber's 16th with her new Honda. My high school graduation announcement alongside a bank statement showing the $200 my parents deposited as a gift. A newspaper clipping of Amber's volleyball team with my parents prominently featured in the stands. My college acceptance letter with no congratulatory note. And finally, a bus ticket from earlier that day. "This is a record of inequality," I said quietly, not in one dramatic moment, but in 1,000 small ones over many years. My parents stared at the items, speechless. "You've kept all this?" my mother finally asked, her voice small. "Not to throw in your faces someday." I explained, but to remind myself that I wasn't imagining things, that the difference in how you treated us was real. Before they could respond, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to find Grandma Hannah, who must have taken a taxi from her hotel. "I thought you might need reinforcements," she said, stepping inside. Her eyes narrowed when she saw my parents. I see the conversation has started. "Mom, this isn't your business," my mother began. "When my granddaughter takes a bus to her college graduation while you parade around with Amber in a brand new Tesla, it becomes my business." Grandma Hannah replied sharply, "Stephanie, you're repeating exactly what your father did to you and Carol." My mother flinched. "That's completely different." "Is it?" Grandma Hannah asked. "Your father favored you because you are outgoing and charming like him. You favor Amber for the same reason. Carol was studious and quiet like Brooke. You resented how your father treated Carol. Yet here you are, doing the same thing to your own daughter." A heavy silence fell. My father, who had been defensive, finally spoke. "Brooke has always seemed fine," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. "She never complained." "She shouldn't have to complain to be treated equally," Grandma Hannah pointed out. I thought. My mother began, then stopped, staring at the items on the table. "I thought, because you were successful on your own, you didn't need as much from us. I thought we were giving you space to be independent. I needed parents," I said simply, "not space." My father ran his hand through his hair, looking genuinely troubled. "The Tesla was excessive, wasn't it? Even for Amber." "It's not just about the Tesla," I said, though making me take the bus to graduation while buying her a luxury car certainly brought everything into focus. "What do you want from us now?" My mother asked, tears in her eyes. "How do we fix this?" "I don't know if you can fix 22 years of inequality overnight," I admitted, "but acknowledging it is a start, and understanding that going forward, our relationship will have boundaries." "Boundaries?" My father looked alarmed. "What does that mean?" "It means I won't accept being treated as less than Amber anymore. It means I'll call out favoritism when I see it. And it means I might need distance sometimes to protect myself." My parents exchanged worried glances. This was new territory. "I've accepted a job interview in Portland next week," I continued. "If I get it, I'll be moving, not to punish you, but because I need a fresh start." "Portland?" my mother repeated. "But that's 3 hours away." 3 hours is nothing if you actually want to visit," I pointed out. "And there are these amazing inventions called phones that work across state lines." My father almost smiled at that. "You've really thought this through." "I've had years to think about it," I replied. I just never had the courage to say it out loud. We talked for another hour, moving through decades of hurt and misunderstanding. There were no perfect resolutions, no tearful group hugs. My parents didn't suddenly transform into the perfectly supportive mother and father I'd always wanted. But there was something new in the way they listened. Really listened, perhaps for the first time. As they prepared to leave, my mother hesitated. "I never meant to make you feel less loved," she said softly. I think I saw too much of myself in Amber and too much of Carol in you, and I projected all my complicated feelings onto that. I know you didn't do it maliciously," I acknowledged, "but impact matters more than intent." After they left, Grandma Hannah stayed, helping me process. "Do you think anything will change?" I asked her. "People can change," she said thoughtfully, "but it takes time and consistent effort. Don't expect miracles, but don't close the door on progress either." As if on cue, my phone buzzed. To my surprise, it was from Amber. "Can we talk?" "Just us." 20 minutes later, Amber arrived, looking uncharacteristically subdued. "I heard everything," she admitted, sitting across from me. I was waiting in the car, but then I followed Mom and Dad up. I stood in the hallway listening. "And?" I prompted. "And I never realized," she said, picking at her perfectly manicured nails. "I knew I got more stuff, but I don't know what I thought. That you didn't care about material things. That you were above it all somehow." "I'm not above wanting to be valued," I said quietly. Amber nodded, genuinely troubled. "I've been pretty awful, haven't I?" "You were a kid responding to the dynamic our parents created," I said, surprising myself with the generosity. "We both were." "Still," she bit her lip, I'm sorry, Brooke. She hesitated. I told Dad I don't want a Tesla. It feels gross now. I raised an eyebrow, genuinely shocked. Really? Don't look so surprised, she said, with a hint of her usual attitude. I can occasionally do the right thing. We talked for another hour, awkwardly at first, then with increasing honesty. It wasn't a perfect reconciliation, too much water under that bridge, but it felt like the beginning of a different kind of relationship. As Amber was leaving, she turned back with unexpected vulnerability. Hey, if you get that job in Portland, maybe I could visit sometime, see what your life is like there. I'd like that, I said, and meant it. Later that night, my phone rang. It was Thomas from the library. Sorry to call so late, he said, but I just heard from my friend at Horizon Marketing in Portland. They want to interview you next week. And Brooke, they're really excited about your application. I smiled, a sense of possibility opening before me. So am I, Thomas. So am I. 1 month after graduation, I stood in my nearly empty apartment, surrounded by boxes. The Portland job offer had come through, a junior marketing position with potential for growth. The salary wasn't extraordinary, but it was enough for a modest studio apartment and a fresh start. More importantly, it was something I had earned entirely on my own merit. Jessica sat cross-legged on the floor. I still can't believe you're really leaving, she said. I can hardly believe it myself, I admitted, but it feels right. The months since graduation had brought unexpected changes. No dramatic transformation, but small shifts. The previous weekend, my father had asked me to lunch. Just the two of us. I've been thinking a lot about what you said, he offered, stirring his coffee, about always feeling overlooked. I think, he said slowly, I assumed that because you were so capable, you didn't need as much from me. I focused on Amber because she seemed to need more guidance. He looked up, meeting my eyes. But that wasn't fair to you. No, I agreed. It wasn't. I can't change the past, he continued. But I want you to know that I see how hard you've worked, how much you've accomplished on your own, and I'm sorry I wasn't there for more of it. It wasn't everything, but it was something, an acknowledgement I've been waiting years to hear. I'd like to help with your moving expenses, he added. Not because you need it, but because I want to support this new chapter. I realized accepting help didn't diminish my independence. Thank you, I said. I'd appreciate that. My mother's attempt at connection were more awkward, but equally sincere. She'd invited me for coffee the day after my lunch with Dad. Portland has some beautiful neighborhoods, she said, having researched the city. The Pearl District is supposed to be very trendy. It's also very expensive, I pointed out. I'll be in a smaller neighborhood across the river. She nodded. You know, I've never lived more than 10 miles from where I grew up, she said unexpectedly. Sometimes I wonder what it would have been like to start fresh somewhere new. I saw something in her eyes then, a hint of envy or regret. It occurred to me that her favoring Amber might have been about more than just personality. Perhaps she saw in Amber the confident, popular girl she had been, and in me, the road not taken, the serious, ambitious path she might have chosen. It's not too late, I suggested. She smiled sadly. Some roads close behind you, but I'm proud that you're taking yours. The word proud hung between us. Unfamiliar, but welcome. Even Amber had shown surprising growth. True to her word, she had refused a Tesla, asking our parents to return it. Instead, she kept her Honda and suggested they donate the difference to a scholarship fund. Whether this change would last remained to be seen, but it felt like a significant step. A knock at the door pulled me from my reflections. Jessica opened it to reveal my parents and Amber, come to help with the final moving preparations. We brought lunch, my mother announced, holding up bags from my favorite sandwich shop. Your father read online that you always need more tape than you think. The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. The dynamic between us was still finding its footing. Conversation sometimes stalling, but the effort on all sides was tangible. As we prepared to caravan to Portland, my parents driving the loaded SUV, while I followed in my newly reliable used car, a graduation gift from Grandma Hannah, Amber pulled me aside. I found this, she said, handing me a small box. It was my faded blue ribbon. My first place award from the science fair all those years ago. The one my parents had missed. I don't know why I kept it, Amber admitted. Maybe even then I knew it mattered. I looked at my sister and saw something new, not the golden child, but a young woman beginning to recognize her role in our complicated dynamic. Thank you, I said simply, tucking the ribbon into my purse. The drive to Portland marked both an ending and a beginning. As Seattle faded in my rearview mirror, I felt a weight lifting, not the complete resolution of 22 years of family history, but the liberation of having finally spoken my truth. My new apartment was tiny, but it was mine. A clean slate in a city where no one knew me as Amber's sister or the responsible one. As my parents helped carry boxes up 3 flights of stairs, I watched them taking the modest space, not judging, but seeing my choices as valid on their own terms. After everything was unloaded, we stood awkwardly. Well, my father said, jingling his keys, I guess we should hit the road. Thank you, I said, for helping with the move. Of course, my mother replied. That's what family does. The phrase struck me as both ironic and hopeful. As they prepared to leave, my mother hesitated, then pulled me into a hug, tighter and longer than any I could remember. I'm so proud of you, Brooke, she whispered. I should have said that more often. After they left, I stood alone, surrounded by boxes, yet to be unpacked, and a future yet to be written. The journey from invisibility to empowerment wasn't complete. Such transformations never are. But I had taken the crucial first step of recognizing my own worth, regardless of whether others could see it. My phone pinged. A text from Grandma Hannah. How does it feel to be exactly where you're meant to be? I smiled, looking out the window at my new city stretching before me. Like the beginning of something important, I typed back. The bus ride to graduation had been painful, but perhaps necessary. The final indignity that pushed me to claim my voice and my value. In the end, the greatest graduation gift wasn't a car or even recognition from my parents. It was a discovery that I could stand in my own light, create my own celebrations, and build a life that honored my worth, whether others recognized it or not. As I unpacked my first box, I came across the journal Thomas my library co-workers had given me, opened it to find a quote they had inscribed on the first page. Your worth is not determined by others' ability to see it. I ran my fingers over the words. Thinking of Dr. Chen's speech, Doris on the bus, Grandma Hannah's unwavering support, and all the people who would see me clearly when my own family couldn't. Have you ever had to stand up for yourself when it felt like no one else would? Or found yourself taking the bus while someone else got the Tesla? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if it resonated with you. Subscribe for more real-life stories, and share with someone who might need a reminder of their own worth. Remember, sometimes the most important journeys start with a single bus ride or a single moment of standing in your truth. Thank you for listening. Take care.